Ajibintu Drame, and this is QTV Midday News coming to you live from our studios along Keraba Avenue, and thanks for joining us. Our top stories. A dramatic day and dramatic scenes at the Kanifing municipality as police intervention unit personnel attempt to enforce the return of the council's suspended ex-CEO, and the mayor summons an emergency council meeting. We have a special report. The Gambia Sickle Cell Association has inaugurated its first ever office. In international news, 9th of August each year is the International Day of the World's Indigenous People. The UN inaugurated the day to recognize, protect and defend the rights of indigenous people around the globe. In Zimbabwe, the death of a 14-year-old girl in childbirth has raised anger and brought to the fore the problem of child marriage. In sports news, over the weekend, Team Knight Wada defeated Team Alaji Jallo to win the Medina United Football Academy Grassroots Football Tournament. Those were our main headlines. Now the news in detail. Now, it was a dramatic day at the Kanifing Municipal Council on Monday as personnel of the Police Intervention Unit occupied the council as early as 6 a.m. local time to enforce the return of suspended CEO Senabu Martin Sonko. It is not clear who gave the directives for security deployment, but a source says the executive has denied giving such a directive. There were several other developments, as Alusise reports.
The embattled CEO Martin Sonko is facing corruption allegations from members of the KMC Staff Welfare Association over an unapproved $12 million in land loan apparently authorized by her and KMC Finance Director Allocator on behalf of the Staff Welfare Association. Many council staff gathered at the council to express disappointment at the turn of events. They claim due process was not followed to secure the loan as per the association's constitution. The justice-seeking staff have also accused Martin Sonko of making unapproved withdrawals from their accounts at Ajib Bank and Trust Bank amounting to $50,000 at the expense of other staff who have been at the council for longer than she had. Mamadou Ndiaye, president of the KMC Staff Welfare Association, says the staff have lost confidence in the CEO and are demanding she be investigated.
She only spent here 1 year, 2 months. Her total contribution is $700. If she is entitled to a loan of $50,000, the Constitution should have clearly stated, which is contrary to what is stated in the Constitution. And again, it has not been serviced since being given to her.
The suspended CEO, Senabu Martin Sonko, reported for work for the second time, but was denied access by KMC security personnel acting on the orders of the council. She maintains her innocence and vows to follow due process to rebrand her tainted image.
Thank you. This is just an allegation. So for me, like I said, I am an administrator. I believe in evidence, facts. So this matter will be settled at the law court. And if it is true that I have done all the allegations that they are alleging against me, then the law will take care of it accordingly.
It is now getting more and more interesting. The Ministry of Local Government and Lands is deeply involved as far as this issue is concerned. The ministry said the council under the Lord Mayor has overstepped its powers and that it doesn't have the power to suspend the CEO. According to the ministry, the Local Government Service Commission is the one responsible for any sort of disciplinary action as far as the local government is concerned. In the exchange of correspondence with the council, the ministry maintains that the council has acted outside its powers and despite an inspection team based on provisions of the Local Government Act to investigate the affairs of the council. The ministry, the minister in particular, is accused of selective interference. However, the mayor said the council will facilitate the work of the inspectors as provided for in the Local Government Act. On Monday, Mayor Talib Bensouda convened an emergency general council meeting and in a reconciliatory statement made a call for unity and calm. He describes the ongoing incident as unfortunate and, as most staff will so appeared not to be at their workstations, calls on KMC staff to continue working in the interest of the council. I want to assure the people of KM that we are not in crisis. The Kanifing municipality is not in crisis. The council is not in crisis and the staff are not in crisis. We think some of these things that happens today are anomalies in the Local Government Act, end of quote.
We also want to make it very clear, I think one of the councillors said, if at all they need any of the staff sent on leave, we will be more than happy to make them available through the Director of Administration. If at all they need access to any of those said staff's offices or any files which are currently closed, we will make sure they are available and we will make sure they have full access to all offices and all records of council.
While the scandal now seems to have taken a political dimension, there are calls for the matter to be resolved amicably in the interest of Kanifing municipality. Several speakers at the meeting, including Salih Tal, President of the Gambia Bar Association, John Charles Nyai of Tango, Landing B. Sane, President of the Association of the Local Government Authority, and politician Mai Fati of GMC and former Interior Minister, were unanimous in advocating for the matter to be resolved according to law.
Whatever dispute there may be in terms of who has what power between the KMC, the Public Service Commission, and the Council, that matter should be resolved in accordance with law and due process.
The ministry should advert its attention to the law. I would recommend both sides exercise restraint. I do not think it is necessary to send law enforcement agents here. There is no conflict, there is no war, there is no demonstration, there is no threat to peace at KMC or at the municipality.
However, with both sides to the matter claiming to be acting according to the law, what is certain from today's event is that the KMC matter is far from over, and national attention is now focused on the country's most populated municipality. Reporting for QTV News, I am Aliou Cisse.
The Gambia Sickle Cell Association, with support from INSYS Global on Saturday, inaugurated the association's first ever office at the ceremony, attended by members of the association, friends and families. And Sumane Esonyasi reports.
For many years, the Gambia Sickle Cell Association has finally acquired its own office space, much to the delight of its members, who refer to themselves as warriors in a show of defiance against the disease. Over the years, the association struggled to find a place to meet, discuss or even carry out administrative work. Now that problem is solved, thanks to INSYS Global, who came to the association's aid. Stressing the importance of having an office space, Khadijatu Keita, Vice President of the association, says their struggles for space to meet administrative needs and for meetings are finally over.
We are existing since 2007, but then we couldn't have an office. So we find a need that we need an office in order to make our activities more effective, because we as an association have been existing in the Gambia and then we achieve a lot of things, I can say, especially when it comes to creating awareness about sickle cell.
Dr. Jojondur Tambedu, CEO of INSYS Global, and Aissatou Juara, a medical student, highlighted the need for government and private businesses to support sickle cell patients. They also urged the public to take the sickle cell test to know their genotypes.
We would like to commend the association's efforts. This is not a small feat. This is actually a really good achievement. It's a great achievement. Now you have your own office, somewhere where you can go to if you need the support, if you need the resources, if you have questions, if you have you need any information, but also to do the testing. You also now have a website that you can visit if you need any information, and also all the events will be broadcast there.
It is our plan to ensure that hydroxyurea is readily available in the country. And as most of us here would know, hydroxyurea is an amazing medication in the management of sickle cell disease. But not only this, it is also part of our priorities to strengthen advocacy and awareness of sickle cell in the Gambia.
Ndependa Ture, marketing manager of INSYS Global, says their institution is happy to partner and support the Sickle Cell Association, and went on to reveal that testing machines have already been acquired to help provide free testing services for the public. Aliou Sambu, the president of the association, and Karim Dabo, councillor for Serekunda Bartes Ward, both thank INSYS Global for their intervention. The new office will also be used to provide counseling programs and weekly clinical services for members. Answane Sonyasi for QTV News.
We'll go for a short commercial break. Still to come, we have more stories. Do stay tuned.
To make sure your company's products and services reach your potential customers, it is essential that you choose the right channel for your marketing purposes. QTV has the widest reach locally and beyond, and we can give your business the visibility it needs. Call QTV Marketing on +220 324 4444 or email us at marketing@qtv.gm and take your business to the world.
Welcome back. Now in international news. The United Nations has set aside the 9th of August each year as the International Day of the World's Indigenous People. The day was declared in 1994 by the UN General Assembly with the aim of recognizing, protecting and defending the rights of indigenous people around the globe. Babu Kasi tells us more.
The International Day of the World's Indigenous People seeks to raise awareness of the needs of indigenous people. The theme for the 2021 commemoration is Leaving No One Behind, Indigenous People and the Call for New Social Contract. Like all international days, which are marked to educate the public on issues of concern, to mobilize political will and resources to address global problems. The International Day of the World's Indigenous People is also celebrated to recognize the contribution and achievements of the indigenous communities and to highlight the plight they face to their existence. It is because of this the UN decided on the theme of Leaving No One Behind, Indigenous Peoples and the Call for a New Social Contract for this year's International Day of the World's Indigenous Peoples. It defines a social contract as an unwritten agreement that societies make to cooperate for social and economic benefits. The UN seeks to encourage societies to treat indigenous communities as stakeholders since they were not included in the initial social contract, which was formulated by dominant communities. In some regions of the world, including the Americas and Australia, the indigenous peoples have almost been disposed of whole continents. In many of these regions, indigenous communities have also been disproportionately affected by the COVID-19 pandemic, whose life expectancy was already 20 years lower than that of their non-indigenous counterparts before the pandemic hit. The UN has been working towards ushering in constitutional reforms at the international level to address the ill treatment of indigenous communities and the adoption of the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples by the General Assembly in September 2007 by a majority of 144 states in favor was another step in the direction. According to the United Nations, there are over 476 million indigenous people living in 90 countries across the world, which accounts for 6.2% of the global population. Babu Karsi, QTV News.
Now, the United Nations has urged the government of Zimbabwe to recognize child marriages as a crime and bring an end to the practice following the death of a 14-year-old girl during childbirth. Abibatu Sisi has the rest of that story.
Memory Machaya was reportedly forced to abandon school to get married. She is reported to have died last month at a church shrine in the eastern region of Marange. Her death has put the spotlight on the practice of child marriage after local media reports that she died last month, but the case came to light only last week after angry relatives who were barred by the church security from attending her burial told their story to the press. The girl's family has said that the baby survived and was doing well. The circumstances that led to the death are under investigation by the police and the country's State Gender Commission. The United Nations statement on August 7, 2021 states that 1 in 3 girls in Zimbabwe is likely to be married before turning 18. The statement further says it condemns strongly reports into the circumstances surrounding the death and the trend of unresolved cases of violence against women and girls in Zimbabwe, including marriage of minors. An online petition calling for justice for Memory Machaya has so far received more than 57,000 signatures. UNICEF's statement released on International Women's Day warns that schools closure, economic stress, service disruptions, pregnancy, and parental death due to the pandemic are putting the most vulnerable girls at increased risk of child marriage. Even before the COVID-19 pandemic, 100 million girls were at risk of child marriage in the next decade, despite significant reductions in several countries in recent years, UNICEF reveals. Girls who marry in childhood face immediate and lifelong consequences. They are more likely to experience domestic violence, unplanned pregnancy and increase the risk of maternal complications and mortality. Only when we realize that child marriage is a crime and put an end to the practice, such ugly sins will continue to happen to vulnerable girls in our society. In 2016, the Gambia announced a ban in child marriage with immediate effect, punishable by 20 years in prison for both the husband and parents of the girls being married. People who were aware of child marriage yet choose not to report could face a jail sentence of 10 years. However, there is evidence the practice is still being done secretly in the Gambia. For QTV News, I am Abibatu Sise.
Now on to sports news. Team Knight Wada are champions of the Medina United Football Academy Grassroots Football Tournament after defeating Team Alaji Jalo 3-0 on penalties following a goalless draw. Our sports reporter Mohozo Gajaga went the final and he now reports.
An evening of football for beginners, as young as 9 years old. They are competing and showing off their talent in a colorful final played at the Medina United Football Academy complex in Yindum. Playing on a small pitch with a smaller goal post, these youngsters have shown beautiful skills. Their ball control, technique and tactical awareness appears to be developing gradually. In this final, Team Alaji Jalo started off well, showing good attacking prowess and had several near misses. Inspired by their team captain, eventually the best player of the competition, Paul Daddy Senghor, was forced into 2 good saves for Team Knight Wada. Ending in a draw, penalties will be the decider. Paul Daddy Senghor again proved why he was voted the best player after saving 3 spot kicks before converting himself, giving Team Knight Wada the victory.
I want to be a goalkeeper because I deserve it. That's why I want to be a goalkeeper.
The day's event began with a 3rd and 4th place decider between Team Lion Boop and Team Basiru Rahia. Both sides play beautiful football with some display of good skills. John put Team Basiru ahead with a long-range shot before Fode Keita equalized for Team Lion Boop. Domingo Mendy is the leading goal scorer of the competition.
I feel a little nervous when I come inside the field. And also, I feel that I will also win the match, that I have a good goalkeeper and a good team.
At the finals, parents, friends, loved ones and well-wishers